We begin right now with developing news. This in the 2024 November election. You right now are looking at a live picture, a live view of the White House. We are now again less than 100 days away from the presidential election, with Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump wrapping up an historic month in the rapidly evolving race.
Over the last month, we've seen everything from the first debate between Trump and then Democratic candidate President Biden. We saw an assassination attempt on the former president.
And the former president also picking Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate before securing the GOP nomination. And then, of course, President Biden dropping out of the race, throwing his support behind Vice President Kamala Harris as his successor after he received a lot of pressure from within the Democratic Party.
And now we're beginning to see some poll numbers in this matchup between Trump and Harris. According to a new ABC News Ipsos poll released Sunday, the vice president has a slight lead on former President Trump when it comes to favorability. Harris with a jump to 43% compared to 35% from a week prior, whereas Trump's favorability rating lands at about 36% in the most recent poll versus the 40% he had the week following the attempted assassination.
So the big question is, of course, we expect those bumps after there's an announcement. So what's next now for one of the most unpredictable campaign seasons that we have lived through in recent memory? Joining us right now is Susan Johnson Cook. She is a Democratic strategist and former U.S. presidential advisor for Presidents Clinton and Obama. Susan, first of all, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you. I didn't get the memo. I had an orange jacket to wear with the sunshine
Susan.
there, but you look beautiful today.
Oh, thank you. As do you. I see a little orange in your necklace. I think
Yes.
there is too. So you're right along with us. I want to talk.
Okay.
I want to talk about a conversation that a lot of people are having coming off the weekend. British television host Piers Morgan was on another network over the weekend where he criticized the vice president's record. Let's take a listen, and then we'll talk about this on the other side. Here it is.
He's getting a fantastically amazing honeymoon. It's going to last about a week. And then reality will kick in, and Donald Trump will start going very hard, as he already is, about her record. And her record is she's literally probably the most far-left senator in modern American history.
All right, so this, of course, is coming out as reports are also surfacing that the government transparency site GovTrack removed a 2019 page renaming Vice President Kamala Harris as this year's, quote, most liberal senator. She was open about defunding the police, open about supporting efforts to bail out rioters who were behind a lot of those fiery riots that killed people and destroyed cities, and then repeatedly claiming Bidenomics is working when so many families are struggling right now. So what type of impact will her record have on her chances in this election?
Well, first of all, it will have a great impact because they're not going to play to her deficits. They're going to play to her strengths. Yes, there were some issues in her background, but there are also some positive things. Bidenomics helped a lot of people. There are people all over the country that are calling in. Over the weekend, I got maybe 12 calls of people jumping on saying we're for Kamala. And Bidenomics is working for a lot of people. So you look at the strengths and the places that she has done well. She took on Wall Street and got millions of dollars for people who have been, co-opted by them. So you got to look at the things that she has done well. And she has served as vice president for 3.5 years. And so you look at that from prosecutor to senator to vice president of the United States, and now just about our candidate for the presidency. So people are really excited about what she is doing and what she can do. And the biggest thing is she's talking about the future of America and not just looking at the laurels of the past.
Susan, as you know, former President Trump has clearly stated Bidenomics is not working. He points to the economy for that. He's got his running mate secured in Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, but Kamala Harris has yet to pick hers. So let's reflect back at that same ABC News Ipsos poll. Out of the pool of potential candidates, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly holds the highest net favorability rating among Americans at 10 points, 22% viewing him favorably, while 12% view him unfavorably. Harris could reveal her running mate by next week. And if that's the case, who do you see as being the most likely pick?
Well, I knew a lot of her candidate choices. And I leave it to her to have the best judgment as to who will be the best for this ticket to really lead America, but mostly who will win. And that's what campaigning is all about. She's going to talk in depth with each of them. She's already talked with Governor Westmore and others who declined because they like their jobs. They are doing what they were called to do as governors. But there are some who are prepared to move on and go to another higher office for the United States of America. She's going to make a wise choice. She is taking her time. Each one is being interviewed and vetted so that when she comes out, she will have a choice that they won't have to go back and say, we have to redo this thing. As for Trump talking about her dealing with Bidenomics, what he's now talking about is cryptocurrency, which, 2 years ago, he was totally adamantly opposed. And so I think you have to see who grows with the times, who's relevant, who's not going to go into a name-calling campaign, but who's going to talk the issues. And for right now, women all over America are excited because Kamala Harris is the only one who can talk about women's bodies not being governed by men or government. And I think that that's going to be one of the key pieces that is exciting, igniting, and delighting women across gender, across ethnicity, across race, across states. She is the woman for our time. And it's not just a moment, it's now a movement.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of issues that are still to be talked about, and we will continue to do that. There's another issue that came up on Friday. Former President Trump spoke at the Turning Point Action Believers Summit in Florida, making this remark during the speech. Let's listen to this.
4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed, it'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
All right, so this morning it is coming out that many Democrats are spinning these remarks as a genuine threat to democracy. Republican New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu pointing out the spin around this comment, saying this on another wet work. Let's listen.
I think that was a classic Trumpism, if you will. I think he's just trying to make the point that this stuff can be fixed. Obviously we want everybody to vote in all elections, but I think he was just trying to make a hyperbolic point that it can be fixed as long as he gets back into office and all that. But, classic Trump right there.
So he was pointing out that if people watched the entire speech, you see that the comments were taken out of context. Trump was talking about voter and election integrity, encouraging those who don't typically vote to vote, because now we know the RNC has an all-out ground effort to restore voter confidence, to restore voter integrity after a lot of those videos surfaced of those ballot boxes being stuffed during the last election. So does spin like this by the Democrats help or hurt voter confidence on both sides of the aisle?
Well, I'm a Christian, and I wasn't at that conference, but I'm a believer who does not allow anyone to dictate whether I vote or do not vote. That is very much a personal choice. But I think many are looking at his original comment when he began to run for office and say, I'm going to be a dictator. I'm going to just take over everything. So it's not going to be a need for a vote because I'm going to be in charge. I think you can look at it any way you like. He puts out his own media, and so people can react to it as well. But, as a believer, I would not stand with someone telling me what I can and cannot do. This is a democracy, and I'm going to have a right to vote. I'm a registered voter, a native New Yorker, and a Native American, and I am going to make sure that I vote without anybody telling me yes or no, I can or cannot. I would not leave it into the hands of the president or anyone else of the United States.
All right. Well, Susan, thank you so much. We do want to point out that the president did respond to that remark. Again, that remark of him being a dictator was taken out of context. That was, in fact, not true. So, Susan Johnson Cook, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome.